View this English Olympiacos fan show.
What's up, guys? This is Adi with Piraeus International, and first and foremost, going to apologize for the lack of a live show this weekend. It's Memorial Weekend here in the States, which makes it very difficult for us to get together for a live show. I'm recording this to cover some news that's happened during the week, and as well as a few other developments that have gone on in the red and white world. But before we get started, as always, everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on socials as well if you do not. We just hit 14,000 followers on Facebook. That's as of recording today. That happened. So huge news, big milestone for us. Instagram is chugging along as well. Just 2 weeks ago, we hit 15,000 followers. We're over halfway to 16,000. So the growth is just unbelievable. We're also just over 400 subscribers away from hitting the 7,000 mark on YouTube as well. So give us a follow, subscribe to us on YouTube if you like what you hear. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, help us hit that goal and continue to grow the red and white community. You can also give us a review if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. We have a lot of audio listeners. So if you're one of those audio listeners, give us a 5-star review, leave us any kind of review or comment. We know that you can leave comments like on Spotify. We love to engage with you guys. So please continue to engage and help us continue to find more red and white fans. You can also support us on Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. For $1 a month, you get access to the WhatsApp group. Plus, there's content tiers and merchandise tiers as well. You can visit patreon.com/Piraeus International, Piraeus 7 International, I apologize. And you can check out more there. There's an episode coming out soon for content to your patrons. It's going to be analyzing our summer transfer position as well as that of our rivals, so that we can kind of talk about where we stand and what it's going to take, what steps need to be taken in order to ensure our superiority over the course of the next seasons and create the next red and white dynasty. There's also a big giveaway going on, guys, on Instagram. If you haven't checked it out already, visit our Instagram page, check our pinned posts, and you can see that we are giving away a signed home kit for the football team, signed by quite a few players. Check out the picture. You can see all the signatures that are included on that jersey, and enter for a chance to win. You have to have an Instagram. It doesn't work if you're on Facebook or X or otherwhere. You have to join Instagram, follow, and of course, read the directions, follow the directions, and enter to win for a chance to win the signed Olympiacos home kit. It is an awesome kit. You guys should check it out. And thank you again to Olympiacos for helping us make this happen so that a lucky fan can be the owner of this amazing signed jersey. Now, let's get on with it. And before we get on with some of the news related to the football team, a couple of other things that have been going on. For those of you that are not huge basketball fans, or maybe you didn't already know, Olympiacos basketball lost to Monaco in the Final Four of the EuroLeague, our fourth straight appearance in the Final Four, but we were unable to make it to the finals or get it done this year. We beat Panathinaikos in the third place game, a meaningless game, and Fenerbahce went on to win the whole thing. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because Dimitri and Ioanni already kind of said everything already when they did the reaction that you can check out, of course, on YouTube as well as Spotify or any other podcast platform for that matter on audio. But it is incredibly disappointing. I mean, I watched that game and I was in such a bad mood after the loss. I didn't do anything on social media. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to do it. It put me in such a bad mood. And as someone who's not really like a basketball savant, I don't know basketball like I know football. I only just started watching the sport because of Olympiacos, especially in the last couple of years. That performance was one of the worst I've seen. I mean, Evan Fournier was the only player that really seemed like he cared and he was capable of winning, 1v1 matchups. I mean, that guy left everything on the court, and I really respect that. It's just extremely disappointing because this team had what it took. This team had everything. I mean, last year we made the Final Four, and maybe we shouldn't have. The last year's team played was greater than the sum of its parts, if that makes sense. This season, we had a more talented team, in my opinion, but things, especially towards the end of the season, this team looks so bad in so many games, and that kind of carried into the playoffs. I mean, we beat Real Madrid. We had quite a few bad games against Real Madrid, carried by Sasha here and there, and games where we won because we had one really good quarter, but it's just disappointing, guys. It's just disappointing. Monaco looked like they wanted to win it. They were better. I mean, it sucks when your MVP also was terrible. Anyway, I'm not going to go too far into it. Like I said, starting to rant already because I'm getting upset, but I'll leave it on this. I think the Final Four setup is really freaking stupid. I would rather there be series. Fans are the best part of this game, and I would rather see, even if we're going to lose to better teams, I would rather see these games come back to Greece and come to CEF once or twice for the semifinal and final rather than this Final Four setup. I don't know how you guys think about it. I know some of my co-hosts might disagree, but I think the Final Four is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never in my life witnessed a tournament where you play a 5-game series one time. And I think before they added more teams to it, it was 2 5-game series before getting to the Final Four. I don't know. I just think the whole thing's stupid. It should be 5-game series all the way out if that's how they want to do it. But moving on from the Final Four, the basketball team does seem to be getting a jump on some things. It looks like Tyson Ward was signed. He was reported to have signed now for a 2-year deal. So not sure if Barzokas is going to be sticking around beyond the year, but pretty nice signing to get things ready for next year. And I'm sure that there's more. So there's been a lot of talk around the basketball team and what will come for next season. In other news, the Olympiacos U19 played this past weekend in the Greek Cup final, the U19 Greek Cup final. They played against PAOK. Unfortunately, they ended up losing. So Greek Cup finalists, they were not able to do the double alongside the first team. They lost to a penalty in extra time of extra time. It was the 122nd minute of extra time. Adonis Dama gives up a penalty, and that sealed the deal for PAOK. So unfortunate, but the U19s fought so hard this season after losing 5 of their best players from last season that they went on to win the youth league with. These guys came back. They still won the title in Greece. They went to the quarterfinals of the UEFA Youth League, performed very well overall. Proud of them. And we're also looking forward to seeing some of the U19s come for summer training. Stavros Pneumonides is one of them. Arigidis Liatsikoris is another. Maybe we'll see some others. Hopefully, we'll see a couple of others join them. We're looking forward to that. Congratulations to the boys for a great season, a hard-fought season. And while they didn't get the double, we're still proud of them. In other news as well, we have the return of our former head of medical, Christos Theos. For those of you that may or may not be aware, Christos Theos was our head of medical even before the arrival of Jose Luis Mendilibar, but he was around when the fiasco happened with Panathinaikos, the Wankar incident, and then after that incident, Mr. Theos and his team at the Metropolitan Hospital, they parted ways with Olympiacos, and that's when we went on to 2 different sets of medical teams, one worse than the next. And in the end, Dr. Theos is back. He's now the new head of medical again. And hopefully this fiasco of injuries that we've had this past season and a half, really, hopefully this changes. Now that Dr. Theos is back, hopefully things kind of go back to normal. And we no longer have to worry about losing almost a third of a roster to injury in a single season, or losing our most important players to injury in the Champions League, for example, like we did with El Kabi and Babis Kostulas in the Europa League this season. So very good sign to see that the former head of medical is now back and he has rejoined the club to keep everybody healthy and improve the state of rehabilitation at Olympiacos. Another major news piece that came out this week was the renewals of both Danny Garcia and Julian Biancon. Danny Garcia extended for 1 year, as was reported, for a couple of months. And Julian Biancon had an option to extend for 1 year, a club option for 1 year in his contract, but he turned around and he signed until 2027. Julian Biancon, or as he's known as the Mayor, glad to have him back. He has been a warrior for the club, incredible passion ever since he arrived here. This is the best transfer from Nottingham Forest that we've ever had. Forget loans. David Carmo, I don't think counts because he was only bought by Forest, just a loan to us this season. So, but Julian Biancon is the best signing we have gotten from Forest, and we're thankful to have him renew, and looking forward to seeing Danny Garcia back here for Champions League next season. Coach Silaidopoulos is also looking like he is going to get his first men's team coaching job. It was reported starting from about a month ago. There were reports that Silaidopoulos could get his first job as Rio Ave head coach because their current coach, known as Petit, was not doing well, and they're expected to fire him. And news came out of Portugal this time confirming this, that Petit is expected to be fired, and his replacement, while they didn't name the replacement, it has been making the rounds in Greece that Silaidopoulos will be coaching there at Rio Ave. So excited for him. We wish Coach Silaidopoulos the best of luck. We think he's going to do a great job at Rio Ave. He'll be coaching some former players of his, and we'll see. I'm sure we'll be sending a couple of other youngsters on loan there, depending on what happens over the summer. You guys might have also seen this week that Ayoub El Kaabi became a UEFA competition top scorer for the second year in a row. Ayoub El Kaabi ended the season as a joint top scorer in the Europa League. He tied with Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United, and he tied with Kasper Høeg from Bodo Glimt. The cool thing about this is Ayoub El Kaabi is a joint top scorer, and this guy did not even play a single minute of knockout football. He played less minutes than Kasper Høeg and Bruno Fernandes and scored the same amount of goals. Ayoub El Kaabi has been the top scorer in European competitions for 2 seasons in a row. He did it in the Conference League last season, only playing in the knockouts, and then he did it again this season, didn't even play knockout football. If Ayoub El Kaabi, the Moroccan Prince of Goals, does not get a nod for the Ballon d'Or, I don't know what he has to do to get it, and it will absolutely be criminal. I will spam the Ballon d'Or if he does not even get a single mention. It will be an absolute travesty. What does this guy have to do just to get a mention? I don't think he needs to win. I'm not saying this guy is going to win the Ballon d'Or. Lord knows, I know there are tons of players ahead of him, but he should at least be on the list for what he has done. Not just this season, but for last season as well. This man deserves a mention on the Ballon d'Or list, 100%. Now, guys, outside of some of the small bits of news that I've been talking about here, there was a huge piece of news that came out a couple of days ago that we reported, and it is significant. You guys might have seen that throughout the course of the season, there's actually been a couple snippets of news regarding, when the season tickets were announced and things like that. There was a small mention when the season tickets were being discussed that infrastructure upgrades have been ongoing at the Karaiskaki for the last couple of years. Major infrastructure upgrades that were being done with the purpose of getting things ready. There were new suites being redone. But the purpose of these infrastructure upgrades was that there was a future expansion that was on the horizon. Well, there was an article that came out yesterday at the time of recording that a survey had been done by Olympiacos. Now that the infrastructure upgrades were done, they had done a survey that was for the Karaiskaki Stadium to be increased from its current capacity up to a over 50,000 capacity stadium. And the style of the stadium is in the San Mamés of Bilbao. So for those of you that are familiar with Athletic Bilbao, the San Mamés Stadium, the survey that was done is seeking to make the remodel or the expansion in a similar facet. Now, we don't know exactly what that means. Does it mean that the stadium is going to be completely redone inside and out? Or does it mean that the inside and some of the new facades will be in the style of the San Mamés? Well, that we are not sure. So what I've done here is I've attached some pictures for you. This is the outside of the San Mamés for Athletic Bilbao. This is a close-up so you can kind of see some of the architecture of the outside from the ground level. Now, what we did was we used AI to reimagine this if it was for Olympiacos. So this got a lot of play on social media. We got a ton of interactions on this. But this is the graphic that we had made on social media using AI to reimagine the Karaiskaki if it was in the style of the San Mamés. A lot of you seem to like it. We don't know if this is how it's going to happen. The lion, of course, is something we threw in there. I don't know if there will be an actual lion there. We do a lot of lions here, so that's why that was thrown in. But, if it's true and this is what's going to happen, this is absolutely massive for the club. Regardless of what style they go with, the fact that they are going to be making the stadium this big it just puts us in a whole different tier when it comes to our European pedigree. Because look, we've gotten a lot of messages from you guys this year, especially when the season tickets were going on sale. The complaints from so many of you were, it is entirely too difficult to get season tickets. Nobody gives up their season tickets. So increasing the size of the stadium will increase the availability of season tickets. And it will also make the Karaiskaki a hell of a lot louder. Think of how loud it is. Think of how every journalist during the Conference League run was saying about the Karaiskaki Stadium, how loud it was. The Aston Villa game, journalists were telling us, and we've said this on the show so many times, that they could barely hear what was going on in the press conference because of how loud it was. Imagine, with almost double the people inside the stadium, how loud the stadium will get. The stadium has already been, ever since the arrival of Jose Luis Mendilibar, has become hell for our opponents. Imagine 50,000 loud, rowdy Olympiacos fans. All I can say is I cannot wait. I hope that this is all true. I hope that this is something that is going to materialize sooner rather than later, because this is going to be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Now, with talk of an expansion, there is a reality we do have to discuss here, because an expansion will take time. It's not going to be done overnight or over a summer. An expansion like this, the amount of work probably would take at least a full season, maybe more. And that brings up a little bit of a debacle, because here we are, this season we're going in the Champions League. The club wants to be back in the Champions League on a regular, they want to be back consistently. So if we're going to be in Champions League, there's not a lot of UEFA approved stadiums in Greece, even in Athens. And by that, I'm talking about Champions League stadiums. A Champions League stadium is what UEFA classifies as a Category 4 stadium. So there are not many of them. Now, forget Thessaloniki. Tumba has one. We know. Forget about them for a second. Let's talk about what's available in Athens. There's not many at all. In fact, there's only 3 in Athens that are classified as Category 4 stadiums. The Karaiskaki is one. It hosted a Super Cup, a UEFA Super Cup, not too long ago. Oaka, the Olympic Stadium, is another one. And of course, we all know the new Ike's new stadium, Hagia Sophia or Papa Arena, whatever you prefer to call it. That is a Category 4 stadium. It hosted the Conference League final. So those are the only stadiums that can be used. Right now, this season, Panathinaikos was using Oaxaca. They used it all season, while Galicia was using Leoforos. Now, maybe since Galicia has been relegated, Leoforos is available for Panathinaikos again. But the thing is with Panathinaikos, if they're going to be in Champions League qualifiers, if they were to qualify for the Champions League phase, then they can't play Champions League games in Leoforos. I don't even think they'll be allowed to play the qualifiers in Leoforos. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to play their Champions League qualifiers in Oaxaca. So that then brings up a conundrum. If Panathinaikos is going to be using Oaxaca, what are we going to do? If we have to use another stadium, are we going to be able to do that? Are we going to be able to use Oaxaca while Panathinaikos is also renting it? Now, Panathinaikos is building a new stadium, the Votanikos Stadium. This, at the moment, would be scheduled to be done sometime in 2026, probably the end of 2026, I'd imagine. Now, when Opapa Arena was built for AEK, there was a similar timeline, and that got extended and extended and extended. So who knows how long the Votanikos Stadium would take to get done. So assuming Oaxaca would maintain the use by Panathinaikos in a singular season, is there a chance to share it? If memory serves, I believe AEK and Panathinaikos did share Oaxaca between the two of them in the years following Marinakis' takeover of Olympiacos. If I remember correctly, this was after AEK got promoted back into the first division. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure AEK and Panathinaikos both used Oaxaca. So it definitely could be a possibility. And it probably would be the only option for us. Again, this is assuming that we're talking about playing Champions League. When it comes to playing Super League games, I mean, it would suck, and there would be a lot of unhappy fans that aren't able to see games. But there would be plenty of smaller stadiums around that could be put to use. I think, one of the biggest ones that's, it's not close to Piraeus, but it's the Yoros Camara Stadium. I think it's 14,500, I believe. It's the home of Apollon Smirnis. Again, not ideal. It's not close to Piraeus, but it's probably one of the larger options available. Galicia isn't too far away. The municipal stadium doesn't seat that many. I think it's maybe 9,000, if I remember correctly. So not a big stadium, could be a backup option. Maybe maybe our vacation home, maybe Opapa Arena. Maybe we ask Ike for a Champions League residency there. Maybe President Venga is going to let us rent it out. We've seen some better times than they have there. We've won so much in there already. Maybe Opapa Arena is an option for us to consider. Look, the fact of the matter is, guys, with respect to the stadium, if we really do see Olympiacos as a top European club, we need a stadium that matches it. This season proved that there is the demand. The demand is there to watch Olympiacos in the Karaiskaki Stadium. Our channel gets messages every week during the season. People calling, messaging, asking, how can we get tickets? Are there tickets available? And while many are able to get tickets for games, many are not. Olympiacos is a global team. So you need to have the capacity so that you can cater to the global audience. These are growing pains. It's an incredibly worthwhile investment to make this stadium, to make this 50,000 seater stadium. And I really hope it gets done. I believe this is something the club wants to do. Marinakis has work going on at the city ground for Forest. He wants to increase capacity there. So it makes sense that he also wants to do it here. Olympiacos this This is a new era of Olympiacos. Ever since Mendilibar arrived, he brought back our castle. He brought back the culture of winning that we are used to, and we need to capitalize on this success. First Greek team to be back in Champions League in the group stage / league phase after, so we were the last ones to be in the group stage of Champions League. That was 5 years ago. So massive, absolutely massive stuff. And I can't wait. The future of Olympiacos is so bright, guys. The stadium is going to be amazing. And if we continue with what's going on with the academy, if we continue with what's going on now with all the resources from scouting that the multi-club network of this, Olympiacos could be. Olympiacos Olympiacos is leading Greece in the charge to make the country a relevant football country again. Olympiacos is leading by example and has to continue leading by example because Greece will not do it by itself. We have to do it. We have to lead by example. The rest will follow. Exciting times to be an Olympiacos fan, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little recording. Again, sorry we could not go live. Holiday weekends are very difficult for all of us, but we're going to get back on the schedule. Signings are coming. It is going to be a busy summer, guys. Olympiacos only needs probably 3-4 signings right now, but there probably will be some sales this summer. We're expecting that. Upgrades are needed for Champions League. And, our rivals aren't just going to sit down. Some of them are in really bad shape. 1 or 2 worse than the others. But we need to make sure that our foot is on the gas because this is it. This is the next dynasty. And if we don't take advantage while Panathinaikos and AEK especially are in very chaotic situations, PAOK as well with aging squads, we're going to ruin a huge opportunity for us to go on the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year run of titles, to claim 50 titles, add another star to the logo. Huge opportunity that we cannot waste. We are in the driver's seat. We have everything going for us. So we need to bring it home. Be very careful, be very smart and calculated with the moves that we make this summer so that we not only repeat what we've done in Greece, but we actually have some success in the Champions League. Thank you guys for tuning in again. I'm Adi. This is Studios International, by the fans, for the fans, and we'll see you all next time.
Olympiacos Melbourne would like to thank these sponsors for their support. Try us now with a free session or support any of our sponsors on our website and get 4 free sessions.